Hi, everyone, and welcome to this session where we're going to look at actually writing the codes, right? But before we go on into the code console and write the codes, let us understand what is the flow that we need to follow as we go on and write the codes. So SQL is structured query language, and we've already been through the theory of it. What I would really love is if you can connect to this YouTube channel, subscribe and share if you've liked the content till now. And I would also be very happy to connect with you over LinkedIn. So do connect with me on LinkedIn. So let's start off. The first set of codes, the first set of commands are data definition language commands. So here you will understand that when we talk about data definition, we really talk about creating tables and then putting the data into the tables, right? So the first command that you will see here is a create table command, which is pretty simple. Now, what I'm trying to do is giving you a structure to the create table command. Whatever you write in SQL, so the SQL code part should be in capital letters. And what I do as a good practice so that I don't get confused is that the name of the tables, the name of the columns, and anything which is not fixed, which I have to put, I put it in a proper case. I put a capital T, I put a capital N, and I write a table name. Okay. So what is the way to write it? You say create table and then put the name of the table that you want. After that, you define the columns or the attributes. So column one, data type of that column and any constraints, like is it a primary key? Are you asking for auto increment? Any constraints. Then next is column two, the data type of that and any constraints. Then column three and so on and so forth. You always end the code by closing the bracket and putting a semicolon. So just understand that when you are reading other code also, this is exactly the way it will work. So here I want to create a table called employees, and the columns or attributes of this employee table are, first one is employee ID, which is an integer and it's a primary key. The second column is name, which is varchar and it has 50 spaces. The third column is age, which is an integer, and salary is the fourth column, which is a decimal format and can accept 10 spaces. Okay, and 2 after the decimal. So here you go. This is exactly how you write any create table. The next thing we can do is alter the table, where you can modify an existing table. Now, often the modification could be either you will add a column name or you can modify a column name from there. You can also delete a column name by dropping the column. Again, the code is pretty simple. Whatever it is that you want, like alter table, that part you do it in capital, then the table name which you want to alter, then you say add. Okay, because you want to create a new column, and then you say column name and the data type of that new column. So just follow this. This is exactly the structure that works. If you want to rename the table, you can do rename table and the name of the table to what is the new table. Drop table, just write drop table and the name of the table. Now, truncate table is extremely interesting because truncate table means that all the data of the table will go away and you will be left only with the structure. Now here, let's look at the data management language and understand that exactly how that works. So when we look at data manipulation language, sorry, I think I spoke it as data management language. So when we look at the data manipulation language, what is the most common things that we do? We do select, which is helps us to retrieve the data from all or any of our tables. Then we do insert, which inserts the data into a table. Update, which updates an existing data in a table. Deleting the data from the table and merging the data, right? So all of these are the operations that we can do over here. Okay, so let's see what is the way the code works over here. So when I want to insert records into a table, we say insert into, and here you will notice that insert into is in capital because that is the SQL command. Table name, and then you open the bracket and put the headers of the columns, because where have you made the headers? You did it when you did create table, right? So just put down the headers. Then what are the values that you want to insert? So values, which is the command to SQL, and then you can keep putting in the values that you want in pairs of 3 because there are 3 columns over here. Now here, when I want to update existing records in a table, this update is not updating the table itself, right? But within the table, I want to put some records in a different way. I say update table name, and then I say set column 1 is equal to value 1. So I can rename, put in different things into the column. Column 2 is equal to value 2. And then I can put a where condition also. Okay, so it allows me to retrieve the data and only for that particular data change the column 1 and column 2. So for example, if I wanted to perhaps name anybody from a particular area like the north as people who are North Indians, and then from the South states as South Indians, I can write where the condition works as from these states, then the value should be put up as XYZ. Okay, we will see all of these in real life, so just do not worry. I just want you to understand the names at least of the different codes. Delete from, what it does is it will delete the records from a table where some conditions that you have put is met. So suppose you want to remove all records of people who are above 60 years, because even if they apply to a job, you cannot give retirement age is 60, you can't give them a job, right? So what do? Delete from the table where the age is greater than 60. Select retrieves data from a table. So you can say select column 1, column 2 from a table, and you put down the name of the table where the condition XYZ is met. So you will see that insert, update, delete, and select. These are all things which help you manipulate the data, right? It helps you retrieve and work on the data within the table. Then you have the data control language. Okay, so the next part that you want to really understand is the data control language. Now, what does control mean? It deals with permissions and privileges of the objects. Two data control commands are grant and revoke. Okay, so if you're if you're working in a server, what happens is you can decide to grant access or to revoke a privilege for certain tables from certain users. So when you start working on Snowflake and common utility servers, you will realize that this is something which is often done. Okay, so then the question comes, how do we move from an ER diagram? Do you remember the ER diagram, the entity recognition diagram that we had done, the entity relationships diagram that we had done? Yes. So the ER diagram that we had created, how do we go from an ER diagram to a code? So first thing that we do is first we identify the entities into tables, because what are the things attributed to an entity? The name of the entity, and then you have attributes or columns, right? Then you convert the relationship. So then you put out primary key, foreign keys, so that you can link the tables. Okay. Then you can apply the constraints. Okay. And then you make junction tables for many-to-many relationships and ensure one-to-many constraints with unique. Okay. So these are 5 things. So first what you do is you can actually, if you have 2 entities, you can do create table. Okay. And put down the name of the entity. You can put down the name of the columns and then add which column is of primary key, which is the foreign key, and so on and so forth. Okay. So what we are saying is that, what I am saying is that, see, if you are a very good technical person, you can do all of this at one go. If not, do not worry. First, you write down the name of the tables, then write down what are the attributes within them. Okay. Then write down which of these attributes are primary and foreign keys. And then you can apply the constraints, and then you ensure that there are many-to-many relationships are called out. Okay. So all of these are a good way to go. Like over here, suppose we say that if the ER diagram has employees and departments, first you define the table. So what is the table? So first is, I have 2 tables, right? Create table employees and create table department. Then I open the bracket. In employee table, what are the attributes? Employee ID, which is an integer, and this is the primary key. The next one is name, which is varchar, and this has 100 spaces attributed to it. Now here you will notice that a create table, integer, primary key, varchar, these all are part of SQL code, right? So that is all in caps. Age in integer, salary, which is decimal, and department ID, which is an integer. Now, when I create a table called department, then department ID is the primary key over there. Okay. And the department name is a varchar and it has 100 spaces allocated to it. So what have I done? I have just initially defined the tables. Okay. Then I will define the relationships between the tables. So we have already in the table put the primary key. We will define the relationship by pointing out which is the foreign key. So each employee belongs to a department. Use department ID as a foreign key. So what do? We alter the table, and really initially when you are doing it, you don't need to run the code. You can first do it. You don't need to run the code. But if you have run the code, earlier code or create table, then you can just use alter table and you can add a constraint. Okay. Foreign key constraint. So what have you said? Add constraint FK, foreign key underscore department. Okay. So what is the table name? It is department. So what are you saying? Foreign key, which is the department ID, references departments from the table departments, department ID. Okay. So what have you done? You have actually referenced a foreign key, which is a primary key in a different table. Okay. Now I define attributes and constraints. So what are the attributes and constraints I can do? I can do not null, unique, default, and check, right? So these are the 4 things I can do: not null, unique, default, and check. So what do? I can just go back and say create table employees. Employee ID is integer, primary key. Name varchar. So I can't have the name of an employee empty. So I say not null. Age integer, and I have to check if the person is at least greater than 18 years, because in India, we can't employ people who are less than 18 years. It's called child labor. Salary decimal, of course, we can do 10 spaces and 2 spaces after the decimal, but the default is 30,000 rupees. Matlab, you can't give a person less than this. There's a minimum wages, right? Department ID integer. And here we have said we have put a constraint where we say foreign key department ID references from the departments table department ID. So actually we could have written this whole structure all together, but I was just trying to break out for you that if I have to think, how would I do it? Okay. Now, if you had to create a many-to-many relationship, one-to-many, not very difficult, but many-to-many, there is sometimes there can be confusion. So if an employee can work on multiple projects, sorry, what do? Okay, so when we create a table called projects, we have project ID, which is integer and primary key, and project name, which is varchar and up to 100 spaces, right? And then we create a table called works on. Okay, so to see which are the projects he works on, employee ID integer, project ID integer, primary key is employee ID and project ID. Okay. Foreign key is employee ID, which references employee from the employees table employee ID. And foreign key is project ID, which references projects from project ID. So here you can see primary key employee ID, comma, project ID. Okay. So what have we created? We have created a junction table. This type of table where you have many, because employee can be repeated also, projects can also be repeated, right? Multiple times. There's that's going to keep happening. But one employee and one project, that combination cannot be repeated. Okay, one employee and one project combination cannot be repeated. Okay, so the primary key you can see is saying employee ID, comma, project ID. Okay, then we are going to implement one-to-one relationships. So if each employee has exactly one workstation, we can say create table. And what is the name of the table? Workstations. And we say workstation ID is an integer or primary key. Employee ID is an integer and it's unique. Foreign key is employee ID, which references employees from employee ID. From the table employees, it will get you employee ID. So what have we done over here? We have seen the structure of the different ways that we can do our commands. right? So just if we were to look at it, the two basic ones are DDL, data definition language, which has create, alter, drop, truncate, and rename of tables. And DML, data manipulation language, which allows us to retrieve, select, insert, update, delete, and merge data. But what I really want to say is that why are we not covering DCL, data control language? Because in data science, most of us don't end up creating a database and having to assign access. Okay, so we will focus on these two parts. These are the most important parts for us. Now after this, we will look at actually writing it in a code. So keep watching the videos, and do connect with me over LinkedIn. It's always a pleasure to stay connected. I will now take you through some of the common questions, okay, that people ask in the SQL exam. So I've tried to put together some questions, SQL theory-based questions, which would can be expected in any exam, especially MBA exams. So nowadays, the thing is that these questions follow Bloom's taxonomy, because we are all moving from basic recall, which is remembering how to code, what is the structure of the code, to higher order thinking, where we should be able to evaluate and write a code conceptually first. Right. So the first thing to understand is why SQL. Why is SQL so important? And I will tell you that the importance of SQL has not gone down. In fact, when you start using databases like Snowflake, etc., which are big data databases, you will realize that SQL is so important. So the first thing is that the answer to this type of a question is that why is SQL important? Because it is a standard language which is used to create, retrieve, and update and manage data in relational databases, which, as you remember, perhaps, is 70 to 80% of all the data in business. It helps store and organize large amounts of structured data, allows users to retrieve data quickly, efficiently, maintains data integrity and security. You remember ACID principles? And it supports business decision making by analyzing data. So we saw all that select statements, right? So it allows us to bring the data out. Now, the next thing is understanding of DML versus DCL. So what is the difference between data manipulation language and data control language with examples? So DML is data manipulation language, which is used to modify the data. So what are the things we can do? We can insert, update, delete, and select information from the tables to view it and modify it. While if you look at data control language, it is used to control access to the database. And as I mentioned to you earlier, that actually for data science students, this is not too important, simply because half of the time we do not work on creating, granting, or revoking access. Applying ER diagrams. So a company wants to store details of its employees, departments, and projects in a database. How would you use an ER diagram to represent these entities and their relationships? So here you can use your mind, and it is my belief that you should look at least 3 to 4 columns for every data. Like here I've done some 3 columns per data. So employee ID, employee name, salary, and department ID. Department is department ID, department name, and project is project ID, project name, and employee ID. So department has 2 items, employee has 4 items, and project has 3, on an average 3 items per table. Okay, so what are the relationships? One department has many employee, and one employee can work on multiple projects. Okay, so this is how you would create the ER diagram. All of these, as I'm mentioning to you, are pen to paper questions, because actually very few times do you get the option to submit code. Okay, and especially in MBA exams. Analyzing ACID principles. This is very important. How do ACID properties of SQL ensure that the database remains accurate? And the example here is a bank processes thousands of transactions daily. If a power failure happens in the middle of a transaction, how do the ACID properties of SQL ensure database remains accurate? Okay, so how does it work? Atomicity ensures entire transaction occurs or does not occur. So otherwise it will show failed transaction. Consistency, database remains in valid state before and after transaction. So it's almost like the database is not affected if the power only affects the transmission from your computer, your ability to see the database. Isolation, multiple transactions happen in the same time and they don't affect each other. Many customers can be working, many customers can be doing transactions. Durability, once a transaction is successfully completed, it remains in database even if the system crashes. So this ensures that all the banking transactions are error-free and secure. Okay. Now evaluating the types of SQL commands. So you might get a question which says something like, how do you create a new table for employees in a company, insert a new employee detail, update an employee's salary, delete a record of an employee who has resigned. Now here you will notice that the question is holding TCL, transaction control language, right? So here we don't cover this in the course. So we will stick to the first 2, 3. Okay. So what would you do? DDL defines database structure. You would create the table of employees. DML allows you to modify the data. So you would insert the table into the table, the salary of the employee. You would update the record for an employee ID, and you can delete a record when the employee ID is equal to 1, just like you updated it, setting the salary to 55,000, you can delete that. Okay. So each command serves a specific function in database management. Now this, I hope, gives you a very clear idea of exactly what type of questions you can expect in your exams. So let's stay connected and we'll start with the coding in the next video.